Welcome to FTB Fridays for Friday, the 16th of April, 2021. I am your host, Jason C. McLean, and we're recording this just at 1:03 in the afternoon, for those of you keeping score. My guest today is a community activist, member of the NDP, Sam Hersh. Welcome, Sam.
Thanks, Jason.
Welcome. And the reason why you're on today is because last Sunday, I believe, at the NDP convention.
Yeah,
it was Sunday, right? Yeah,
Saturday, I think actually. Yeah.
It was Saturday. Yeah, last Saturday at the NDP convention, the party voted on a resolution, which I had up for 2 seconds. Okay, the resolution ending all trade and economic cooperation with illegal settlements in Israel, Palestine, and suspending the bilateral trade of all arms and related materials with the state of Israel until Palestinian rights are upheld. And 80% of the membership supported that resolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you were one of the main people, I guess, pushing for the resolution, right?
Yeah.
And can you tell me a little bit about the convention process and achieving this success?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a huge, step for the NDP, and especially with the huge support that we got behind it at this time in 2021. And we actually brought a similar resolution forward in 2018. The resolution at that time didn't include the arms embargo, which is the second part of this, suspending arms trades with Israel, Palestine, and Canada. But so this is and the party, they always play some procedural tricks or whatnot to sort of stall it. And in 2018, we didn't end up getting it passed. But so it's been a long process to finally get it here in 2021. It's been years of not only us, right? Even before, this has been an issue within the party for years and years and years. Something, right? Candidates being dropped in 2015 because they were pro-Palestine. I personally experienced folks in the higher ranks of the party coming down on me for being active in that stuff as well. So it's a very contentious issue, and it was at the online convention this past weekend that we were finally able to mobilize folks from across the country around this resolution at the convention. And also we got support from caucus as well. We got some support last time. This time a more further embrace of our resolution, and then ended up passing by a very large majority.
Yeah, 80% is hard to ignore. Last time, 2018, it was still Tom Mulcair, the leader, right?
No, it was Jagmeet at that point.
It was Jagmeet. Okay, so yeah. But the leadership hasn't changed. What's changed in the party, do you think, to that allowed it to pass this time that it didn't last time?
I think as I was saying, that this was a thing. This was an effort that we've been pushing for since 2018. We've been keeping the pressure on since then, and I think the party's really been feeling that. And every single convention, there's always, in the foreign policy section, there's always not only one resolution on Palestine, there's several all the time. So it's really an issue that the party has tried really hard to ignore for a very long time. And I think at a certain point, something's got to give, right? And they have to be like, well, I'm not saying that they gave us a concession, because they did it. I mean, this was something that grassroots members pushed forward. This is something we did, and something that grassroots members, and particularly a group of us, a coalition of Palestinian and Jewish members, brought forward and pushed. And those are the folks you should get credit for it, not the party, not the higher ups in the party, for sure.
Well, one thing regarding the higher ups, though, is I guess when I first saw this, first of all, 80% of NDP members supporting such a resolution, not surprising at all. The fact that the party establishment let it happen, that surprised me. But one thing too is I saw Jagmeet was on with Rosemary Barton on CBC, and okay, fine, she really pressed him, and no, he didn't outright say I personally endorse this resolution, but he basically said that, yeah, this happened. This is something that this is now going to be included in our he didn't say it would be included in the platform, but he said that the ideas behind it are included, and this is very much in line with international thinking. I mean, were you expecting that response from the leader?
So I was definitely it's a huge improvement from his last response, on the House when he did that interview before the convention with Chris Hall, where he immediately went to saying, we know we're not anti-Semitic. So I mean, that was a very offensive response, and it's great that he didn't say that this time because the resolution passed. But I mean, the next step, because we didn't hear an outright yes. It was good to hear that, he gave an affirmation of like, yes, this is something that's supported by again, not only human rights groups, but there was a poll in 2017 by Ecos that showed that 78% of Canadians from all political parties thought that a boycott on illegal Israeli settlements in the current context of Israeli human rights violations, was reasonable. So it's something that's popular. But then the next step really is to push the party, keep the heat on, and push the party leadership so that they include this in their next platform, and talk about it and advocate about it, because we know that other positions that are extremely popular, like free tuition, was passed by the membership in 2018 at the 2018 convention, but the party didn't end up running on it. And this has happened multiple times. Apparently, I've been told that the Ontario provincial convention, where free tuition has been passed multiple times, but they never run on it, right? So it's and I saw Brad Levine, who some folks know used to be a top party staff during Jack Layton's era. He goes on CBC all the time and talks about how the policy is non-binding and things like that. So that's what some folks always stress. But of the party membership and people from outside organizations, because obviously other people are interested in this resolution, fight hard enough, then I think it can really be something that's on the platform next time around.
Yeah. Why do you think is it that the NDP is not learning from history when they try to appear like the Liberals, or like a nicer version of the Liberals? People are just going to vote for the real thing. They're going to vote for the Liberals. Like, I mean, why is the NDP running? Like, I mean, it's the one kind of party that really should run to its base, not away from it.
Yeah, and I think people talk about this. The comparison between the Conservatives and the NDP all the time is that the Conservatives are really afraid of their base, and they often kowtow to them. And the NDP, it's the opposite. I'm not saying that obviously the Conservatives is not a model that we should build after. But yeah, I mean, that's it, right? It's frustrating, especially with a policy like the one we passed at the convention. There was so much pushback against it for so long that it's, why are we trying to, I think that folks are, rightfully in the higher ups in the party are rightfully worried about the pro-Israel lobby, who that is can be quite, as I've experienced personally, quite hateful and quite vicious. I understand that, but it's why are we trying to convince folks that will never vote for us to vote for us, right? The people that will vote for us are the people that are not looking at the NDP right now, because we don't have bold enough policy on things like Palestine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of the pro-Israel lobby, in terms of outside groups pressure, like, I mean, that they were not silent about this resolution either.
No, I mean, we saw a press release released by CJA, which is, for folks who don't know, the Canadian Israel Jewish Affairs. I'm pretty sure that's what it stands for. But they released a press release, something to the tune of like, is the NDP affirms their toxic obsession with Israel, or something really, really weird and over the top. It didn't get too much play on Twitter. I was happy to see that the positivity around passing this resolution actually won the narrative that day over CJA's really over the top, quite frankly, ridiculous narrative. So,
what do you think they were trying to, like, using words like toxic? Do you think they're trying to appeal to like NDP voters or New Democrats to get them to change their mind? Like, they're using very like younger, more like, I guess, progressive terminology, like words like toxic. Do you think that's what they're trying to do?
I think that CJA, groups like CJA, B'nai B'rith, Sam Wiesenthal Center, a lot of these pro-Israel Zionist organizations really use their position as dominant over the debate around Jewish identity, to their advantage when they speak to folks who quite frankly don't know anything about it. And they say that they speak for everyone, and that if you support this, you don't support the Jewish community. And they really use that to their advantage, and that's what they did in that release. Though I don't think it really went on, because I do think that the views of folks in general, especially younger Jewish people and folks in the NDP are starting to say, you know what, no, it's not anti-Semitic, obviously, to support peace and justice in Israel-Palestine.
Yeah. Okay, well, at least the NDP's taken a step forward. I guess we're going to see where it goes from here. Any bets on if the party actually runs on this in the next election?
I mean, I hope they do. I think it's very hard to ignore a mandate of 80% in favor of this resolution, but we said similar things about free tuition. Though I do think that although free tuition is something that's where a lot of people support, I do think that the dynamics around this particular issue are a lot more more emotional and whatever around it. So people go to bat for this particular issue, I think, a lot more than other issues. There's a lot more stuff around it, I think, that causes these reactions.
And if the party's going to be tagged for it anyways, regardless of what they do, they might as well run with it.
That's it, right? I mean, I think that hits a nail on the head perfectly, and that's, sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. It's just like, at least the NDPs are gonna, they're gonna stand out, right? They need to carve some space for themselves, and this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, getting criticized for supporting something and at the same time getting criticized for not supporting something, the exact same thing, that's just a lose-lose situation. Hopefully exactly. The party makes the right choice. Sam, thank you very much for joining me today. Is there a way people can follow you on social media or?
Sure, yeah. On Twitter, my handle is at Sam Hersh 01. Not too complicated.
Okay.
So and that's mostly where folks can see my public opinions and news and views and stuff like that. So
yeah, and people can follow me on Twitter at Jason C. McLean, and of course you can give us a like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Like and share and follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Forget the Box. You can download the Android app. The iOS one is coming soon. And for daily content, of course, check out forgetthebox.net. We'll see you next week for another FTB Fridays.